Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Racha Kudash. The honors under the Elders Apostle Great Millstone, the Elders Great Millstone, and of course, peace and blessings under the hopeful elect. The sincere servants of Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, serving him in truth and sincerity. Yes, on the brother Chayaba from GMS Plain Tables Camp. Come back with another lesson to his spirit. Yes, so this lesson be based off this article from nationalnews.com, which is entitled, it says, Australia's rental market becomes the unwilling testing ground for digital ID, or it says digital national ID system. And getting into it, it says the Australian government is launching a pilot program that uses the competitive rental market to normalize this digital ID system, requiring prospective tenants to verify their identity and share financial data. While presented as a voluntary convenience to streamline applications, critics argue it is coercive, as renters facing a housing crisis have no real choice but to comply to secure a home. And we understand, of course, within these end times, Esau is moving as quick as he can move. Esau, of course, being a so-called white man. Esau, of course, with the so-called white man starting with the elites all the way at the top. The ones who own obviously all the money in the world. Of course, international banking families. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, you go down the list. And, the elites, ultimately, this is what they want. Also got another article. This is literally from a website or an Australian website. It says Connect ID. So it says renters set to benefit from digital ID pilots, cutting paperwork and protecting data. It says renters will soon be able to verify their identity without handing over passports and licenses, in addition to being able to demonstrate they can afford the property without sharing sensitive bank statements. As part of government-backed trials to make rental application process safer and less invasive. They always, this is the main thing they're pushing. For basically this digital ID. Ultimately what it's secure. It basically gives better privacy. Again, ultimately what we know of Satan's devices. We understand why they're doing this. So going back onto the article from nationalnews.com, it says, the banking combines a digital, or let's read this again. It says, while presented a voluntary convenience to streamline applications, critics argue it is coercive, as renters facing a housing crisis have no real choice but to comply to secure a home. And we know, again, they want people, we're starting with our people, the Israelites. And that's why, again, so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, that's why, again, this whole society is set against our people from the ground up. This system has been basically, again, it has been predicated upon against our people. This whole system has been set up against our people. So they want our people to be attached to the system as much as possible. So that's why, of course, Trump, he has cut. Well, ultimately, Trump is cutting the benefits. You see a lot of our people going crazy. And that's because they have an attachment onto the system. And even though all of us have some type of, even though, again, we're not free 100%, obviously we're not free from the system. Again, us brothers within the truth, us servants of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, ultimately, we're not attached to this place, mentally and spiritually. And ultimately, we're going to have to depart physically from this place. Because we understand that very, very soon, this digital ID is going to turn into, the mandate for the digital ID is going to turn into a mandate for the mark of the beast. Let's go ahead and get Revelation chapter 13. And so this Revelation chapter 13 and 15. And you have power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we know the beast is the EU and the NATO. And the image of the beast, of course, is a system that they're bringing, which will ultimately they want to introduce a new system, which is the NWO. That's the image of the beast. You know, what the new system that they want to bring, and whether they're bringing it, you know, as we speak. It says that as many as will not worship the image of the beast shall be killed. Yeah, so if you don't bow down to the image of the beast, if you don't bow down to the NWO, and it says what? Shall be killed. And let's go and get the word for killed within the Greek. It says to kill in any way, whatever, to destroy, to allow to perish, metaphorically, to extinguish, abolish, to inflict mortal death. And ultimately, well, we understand that ultimately, what if you don't take part of the image of the beast, then ultimately, what the you that's a part of this system is going to be killed off, and you know, you won't be able to be a part of it. And of course, well, we understand that Esau is going to come with what the scripture is going through the hour of temptation. So we understand how Esau is going to come with, again, his temptations, even presenting you with death. You know, going into the guillotine, these concentration camps. And what the main thing that's going to back this image, or the main thing, or ultimately what the gateway, the key, the gateway into this NWO is going to be what? It says Revelation chapter 13 and 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Exactly. Causeth, meaning he's going to mandate it. And it says both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. Yeah, we know the word for mark. Within the Greek word is chragma, meaning, yes, as a stamp and a printed mark, or the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. And ultimately, the Antichrist is not just one person coming up out of nowhere. Ultimately, it's the Antichrist represents anybody who's against Yahushai. I mean, literally, that's what it means. Anti meaning against, Christ meaning anointed. And ultimately, this whole system is going to be 100% against Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But it's going to be 100%. Again, this is going to be Esau, and we understand how Esau is a physical kind of part of Satan. So this is going to be 100% Satan's system, and that's going to be through Esau. Again, the physical counterpart of Satan. It says the mark brand upon horses, thin carved sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. It says a scratch or etching, i.e. a stamp, as a badge of servitude. So this is going into something that's physical, a scratch or etching. Meaning it's going to be etched into the skin. Again, we get the verse right here. It says, Revelation chapter 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. Yeah, so it's going to go inside the right hand or in their foreheads. Of course, this is going to be the main place that people take it. It doesn't matter wherever you take it within your body. Ultimately, if you take it, then you're going to receive the judgments of those. Basically, ultimately you're going to receive the judgments written for those who take it. Which is if you're in Babylon the Great, you're going to be burned up by nuclear destruction. If you're an Israelite and you take it, you will not receive salvation. And also what the scriptures go into the grievous sore. Let's go ahead and again, we understand. Well, let's read verse 17. It says, Revelation chapter 13 and 17. And that no man might bar his soul, save he that had a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you won't be able to bar or sell without this mark. And again, we understand how linking these things together, again, it's going to be something that goes into the right hand or into the forehead. And you won't be able to buy or sell without it. So it's going to have buying and selling capabilities. And we know 100% that this links up onto the implant, the C-hip, the chip. Let's go ahead and look up. The RFID chip, the C-hip, as you can see. This right here is the MOTB. And again, whatever form it comes in, ultimately is going to be an implant. Could it be more advanced? Could he still have something advanced than this? Yeah, but ultimately, it's going to be something that's physical. It's going to be something that's again, ultimately it's a electronic chip that they want to put in people. And there's going to be the connection to the image of the beast, the NWO. And without this, again, you won't be able to have access to anything. So they're going to present the mandate, Revelation chapter 13 and 17, and that no man might bar or sell except he that had a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have this mark. That's going to be a great temptation. Again, the scriptures go into the hour of temptation, and this is going to be the greatest temptation upon the planet Earth, because again, you won't have Esau's created society, so that people are relying upon the system. I mean, it's obviously it's very inaccessible to be sovereign within a society. But it's going to be even harder once he mandates that mark. It says, verse 18, here's wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. Yeah, 666. We know that's the number that the devil loves to use. Esau. When you go into Esau's different, of course, again, his products, his movies, again, he has his number, whatever. The barcode system, again, this number is everywhere, and he puts it in plain sight. And, these different company logos, so on and so forth. Well, again, this is a number that the devil loves to use. It says, Revelation chapter 3 and 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So this red letter, of course, this Yahushua speaking. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. So this is going to be for those who keep the word of the Lord's patience, meaning for those who do the Lord's will unto the end, and do what he said to do. Ultimately, that's the elect, which such brothers ought to be a part of. It says, I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them and dwell upon the earth. Yes, so a reward for the elect is that they'll be kept from the hour of temptation. Because again, literally, the Lord will have to put a spirit upon us to resist our of temptation. That's how great it's going to be. The scriptures say, be as pilgrims upon the earth. So ultimately, through these scriptures, Yahweh Bashim Yashai is training up our mind, of course, through our experiences and, what the Lord puts us through. We gain wisdom, and ultimately being prepared for what's to come. And again, as we're living in these times, again, we're already experiencing some of these things. But again, it's going to get to that point where that our temptation is at hand. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Exactly. So what? This is going to come upon all the world. And again, it's going to be the greatest temptation. You won't be able to buy or sell without it. So imagine you won't be able to, again, so you won't, that means no access to food, no access to anything within society. You won't be able to pay for your bills. So, you automatically lose your house or lose your apartment, whatever. Again, but, you won't be able to drive unless you have that CHIP, because that's going to be the new identification system. And again, no access to making any transactions within a society unless you have it. So ultimately, you won't be able to do anything. So that's why it's going to be the greatest temptation, and many people will fold. And Yahweh Bashim Yashai will reserve his elect from the hour of temptation. As scripture said, the Lord's going to make way for his elect. It says, Revelation chapter 3 and 11, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Exactly. So our faith, we're holding fast our faith. And ultimately, what Yahweh Bashmi Yashai has given us, we have to hold it fast. Doing his will unto the end, but in, of course, maintaining our faith in him. Because the scriptures say that he will take care of his elect, for those who trust in him. For basically scriptures going to, for who has forsaken, or who has the Lord forsaken, for those who trusted in him. So going back to this article. Yeah, and ultimately, we know that Yahweh Bashim Yashai is going to prepare many miracles for his elect. Because just because Esau says you won't be able to eat or drink does not mean that we're not going to be able to eat or drink. Yahweh Bashim Yashai is the one who controls that. Again, miracles, but spiritual power. Of course, we know Lord's going to send his angels. Lord's going to make certain paths and way, or again, ways for his elect in order to maintain and sustain his elect. It says the centralization of this data creates major risk. So going back to the article, it says, this pilot is seen as a critical step toward making the digital ID system inescapable, with inevitable expansion to other areas like voting, healthcare, and age verification, following the model of nations like Iceland. The centralization of this data creates major risk, including the potential for government surveillance, social control, and loss of autonomy, or it says, and a loss of autonomy, all under the illusion of user consent. There you have it. And we already see, this system is huge in China, a social credit score. Basically everything being digitized. And we're seeing the rest of that spread throughout the whole world. And ultimately is going to be that CHIP. Ultimately all nations will implement that system. For the NWO. So ultimately we know what's coming. It says 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and 11. At least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We know why he's doing these things. Devices meaning schemes, his plans, his tactics. We know why he's doing these things. Saying, this will be easier, that'll be easier, this will be more convenient. It'll be safer. And again, they create problems. Such as with the immigration problem, that's literally engineered. you know what? Oh, again, all these different events that they create, they introduce, or what they wait for the reaction. They also engineer the reaction because they want the people to think in a certain way, and ultimately, what they create the solution, which, as we can see, what's digital ID they're presenting as a solution, but it's going to turn to the MOTB. So they're going to keep on doing a back and forth, what problem reaction solution, and until it's the mark of the beast. As we know, of course, the elites, they work in gradualism, but they're moving very, very quick. Again, we don't have much time until the MOTB is mandated, which ultimately what is good, because this is what we're waiting for. We know prophecy needs to be fulfilled in order for Yahushua to make his return. This MOTB needs to be mandated, and once this MOT is mandated, very, very soon after, World War III will start. Of course, we're in the beginning stages of World War III already, but the nuclear war will pop off. We know ultimately that nuclear war won't pop off until this MOTB is mandated. And then right then and there, once the nuclear war pops off, and Babylon the Great is being destroyed, as scripture is going to, Babylon the Great will be destroyed, which is America. From these other nations, they're going to shoot their nuclear missiles upon this place. Yahushua will come back to deliver his elect from America, from that destruction that America will go through. So ultimately, we know, again, all these things are necessary to happen, and what we want to happen as quick as possible. So that, of course, Yahushua comes back as quick as possible. And again, we gain salvation as soon as possible. We're hastening in the day. So this is what we're waiting for. Well, of course, Yahushua coming back, delivering his elect and setting up his kingdom. So, of course, we escape Esau's world, and Esau's world going to be destroyed when Yahushua comes back. And and then Jacob's world starts, which Yahushua was set up. So I believe it's the point. Lord, so you blessed and edified. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kakorash Brakatham. Shalom.